Wait, is that enough double negatives for that to remain true?
What are you typing?
No, I'd have to have 3 knots. Because it would have to be not Zest. Otherwise, not Zest is actually just Zest.
Not. It's Zest, not. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Alright, there we go. Whoa, guys, check it out. You see, look, Zest's name on the overlay. Whoa. At the bottom right, it's not Zest.
Amazing. In the top right, has the blue Zerg. It is Scarlet.
Real, not Zest. Yep, confirmed, guys. This is 100% real.
Can we put Scarlet as real, not Scarlet?
No, because we know for sure it's Scarlet. And I feel like the necessity of all those double negatives.
It's too many nots.
The only thing it does is prove how stupid the English language is, frankly.
I guess.
Well, I know Scarlet's ZvP has always been, I want to say, like, not good. That's not the direction I'm going with it, because it has been, but I think the one she's most confident in, and I say this because she's won games normally, right? And I'm saying normal in air quotes here, because builds you would expect to see. She's also managed to kind of define this matchup in her own way in the past, using these massive Queen and Fester builds at periods of time. While she didn't exactly build and start the proxy hatcheries, she was able to use them a lot to her own advantage and play them out differently than even other people like Bly. So in the past, in the history of ZvP, I've always really liked Scarlet no matter who she was going up against, even if it was Zest or otherwise.
Well, I got the privilege of just watching behind her as she played versus Neeb like a couple hours ago. And I can tell you, she wasn't having too much fun versus the carrier way of playing Protoss.
That's right, I keep forgetting Neeb is like one of these guys who's really locked down, turtling up the carriers.
Yep, it was carriers, and then they're, well, actually, I guess I shouldn't spoil it entirely because it was just 2 hours ago, but there was carriers in that best of 7, and she wasn't having that great of a time against. So, if that is the way this game is going, and I don't know, I didn't pre-check these replays to see if they were cool or not, she might have some difficulty.
This is like the double negatives, and I'm
not.
I feel like the other, no, you know what? It's not. You didn't not check the replays on opposite day. Hello.
Jesus, that's a little too confusing.
No, I'm gonna kill myself if I gotta try and decipher that. But well, regardless of the carrier aspect of the game, we'll see how it possibly goes, whether it is that direction or not. One thing we've seen for certain is that if you are a Zerg player right now in StarCraft 2, no matter what league you're in, whether it's Diamond or lower, Masters, Grandmasters, like, Hydras are not the answer to carriers. A lot of people have thought they were, but they're just not holding up. In some rare instances, we've been seeing fights where, okay, the Zerg players manage to get on top of the Protoss before they have like 5 or more carriers. And in that instance, the Hydras are still pretty good. But if you've both played Turtle, you've both maxed out, and one's gotten carriers, and you've gotten 200 supply with the Hydras, you're going to lose that fight with the Hydras every single time. The most interesting thing I've actually seen in that matchup so far is fungal growth. And not because it really does a lot of damage, but it 100% stops interceptors from attacking whichever ones it grabs. And if you can temporarily remove all the carriers of their interceptors, and I'm saying you might actually need like 5 or 6 fungals to do this, but if that's what lets you stutter step underneath them to focus fire them down, or hell, use corruptors to do it, that might just be the solution. The double Stargate's kicking up.
Yep. It's a lot to be said about what is the correct response versus the carriers, and of course, like, killing them before they get to enough is like the easiest response, I should say.
It's so unfortunate how much of a history StarCraft has of that being the response to the OP thing. Like, oh, Broodlord and Fester? Just kill them before they get to it.
Yeah. But
Mech Terran? Kill them before they max out.
It was actually like discussing it with her, right? And it's just like, I actually don't like just carrier. Probably, I don't even think it's OP, even with the mineral
the fact
change.
That they come with storms and stuff too.
Yeah, once
right?
you get stormed, though, I do actually believe that it's a little too hard for the Zerg in that scenario, just from what we've seen.
So again, I'm very strongly convinced that if carriers are gonna stay the way they are, we're gonna see infestors be the only way to really start shutting that down. And I don't think it's like you're sneaking into neural parasite, which again could be pretty cool in and of itself. But fungal growth catching all the interceptors has been not common, but I've seen it 3 times now in cast where we've seen those carriers, and watching the interceptors just completely stall out. No damage, no flying, nothing. Like, that just seems like such a great window of opportunity to get in there.
I agree. I mean, I think that spellcasters are going to be the way to go anyway. Like, the spellcasters plus whatever, like, heavy hitter you want, whether that's the Hydralisk or Corruptors or, hey, even Queens. But just going pure one or the other is probably not the way to go.
Yeah. Actually, I'm wondering, too, because we haven't seen enough of it, what the carrier range versus abduct range is for Vipers. Like, can you actually just abduct the carriers one at a time like you would Colossus back in the day? Would that be good enough as well?
I think that the chances aren't... They're going to present themselves when the Protoss is kind of, like, not moving, right? Like, yeah, they're paying attention. They'll probably be able to snipe that Viper by, like, A-clicking on it, but I don't think that's always going to be the case. So I think it's like abducting is worth it as well. But I don't know whether those Zergs are going to respond to it. I guess it's going to talk about how the Protoss is getting to it, because that's been one of the bigger issues. It's like, do they turtle really hard and just build a bunch of cannons, which is what Neva's been doing? Or do they open up Phoenix? We had one game where they opened up Mass Oracle that really tripped up the Zerg. This time it is going to be that Phoenix opener.
Well, the Phoenix opener is actually doing a pretty good job of keeping Scarlett a little bit startled back at home. She's sticking around the Spore Crawler that she's put between the bases, and that's a smart move in the Queens and all that. But at the same time, her Lings didn't get a lot done. She tried running across the map. This base is actually open technically right now, but Lings are just not finding any opportunity this game. Now, for those asking in chat if this is live, if you're watching this at whatever the equivalent of 1:51 p.m. Pacific on December 3rd is, then yes, this is live. We're casting some replays that we got from Scarlet just to fill some of the downtime that was supposed to be a show match leading into the Overwatch tournament today. So, howdy y'all.
Howdy y'all. Okay then. Well, the carriers are now on the way. We do have a lot of Hydras, and they're going to have +2, but they can't keep that carrier count down. If they can't stop this Protoss from getting to a 4th base, I do really quite worry.
So I've noticed something through these replays, by the way, that I would like to really stress test. The gameplay is a lot smoother, and the frame rate is significantly higher. Even in the previous game with Ryung, where there was like hundreds of Lings and Banelings going on, I don't think I dropped a single frame during the fight. But recently, during some of our live casts, this has been an issue that made me concerned, like maybe my computer's dying. So I'm starting to wonder if maybe there's some weird latency thing, like 4 people in the lobby all at the same time. Maybe it's causing some sort of delay through server and back to each other and then observers. I don't know, but I'm really curious what the thing is that's making this replay run so buttery smooth. But the live casts have been a little bit jittery recently.
I cannot tell you. I don't know how technology works at all. Wires.
How do they work? They're miracles, right? Alright, so
yeah.
Cannons coming down are actually kind of important. Regardless of the carrier for a minute, let's back up a second. Let's forget the carrier for just one moment. Back when Tempests were so really freaking good. Referencing Neeb again, that one epic game that will never be forgotten, him versus Snoot, right? The 200, like 3-time max out of Ultras and all that. What kept him from breaking it, it wasn't carriers and it wasn't even the Tempest in the sky. It was the cannons paired up with storms on the ground. So I love that maybe Zest is doing this.
Maybe Zest. But yeah, the cannons were the biggest part of that game. Man, what's the map of that game?
Alien Invader, something like that. Invader?
Was it Invader?
I think it was just called Invader. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I guess it was. I mean, I remember it was a huge map, but I remember it being cheerier than I remember Invader being. Invader was kind of a flat, dark map. But anyways, I guess it was because it was filled with Protoss cannons. That's why it looked a lot brighter.
Yeah. I mean, there are gold, glorious structures.
That legitimately might be it.
So, unfortunately, this is going to get a little bit awkward. Scarlet's deciding to go for Vipers right now, and I think this will be that situation, like leapfrogging abducts may be the best way to grab the carriers over and focus them down with the Hydras. You know, fighting them one at a time is a lot easier than fighting all of them in the full force. But one thing that maybe Zest hasn't done here is there's no storms, and I think that's a big problem.
Yeah, another problem I think is, I should say, like the mothership isn't quite here. It doesn't seem like a big deal, and most people do not get it a lot quicker. But it has been a problem. First of all, they cloak the units from being sniped, and then if you really like are in trouble, you can try and purposely snipe the overseer and save your units. And the cannons on the ground would also be cloaked. So it could have been an opportunity for her to actually snipe up these carriers.
Yes, you're right on all counts, but I was also just going to add in real quick because we still have people who might not be aware. Carriers had a pretty big tweak. They can no longer unload their interceptors, which honestly would be so god mode insane if they could. But interceptors' cost was reduced down to 5. They used to be like 25 or something like this. And a big problem you would have is you would actually run out of money trying to rebuild the interceptors, and you couldn't even fight with them. Now, not only do you save a lot of money through the interceptors, thus allowing you to build more interceptors, you get to support that ground army. You get to build more cannons. You get those extra couple of Templar, all because of the minerals you saved with that cost reduction. And that's a big part of what people are complaining about right now. But I asked about that range, and it looks like Viper range wasn't quite perfect, but the one carrier gets melted. However, unfortunately, so does Scarlet. On the front lines, a lot of these Hydras going down very, very quickly. Phoenix is picking up with the cannon as well to grab a couple more kills. 2 Vipers have already gone down, and whoever this is that might be Zest only really lost 1 carrier for it. I'm not sure about that recall, but safe than sorry, I suppose.
Yeah, that recall is kind of weird. Yeah, like that's what I was talking about though, right? Like I think if the Protoss is paying attention, just like instantly like grabs the Viper, but if they're not, then the Viper might actually trade pretty well.
I love the Spore Crawlers coming down too. Like even if it's just 1 extra shot from a building, it helps out a ton. Abducting into this, of course, is going to be great, but it also creates a fallback point for Scarlet now. Whereas before, with these Hydras, every time she runs away, it's kind of running away into nothing. Now she's going to be running away into some very nice static defense on the front line. But even with all these additional Spore Crawlers, none of them are going to stop the Storms, and none of them are going to stop the Adepts. So if she loses too many Hydras, it could all still go very, very badly.
Yeah, I'm seeing those upgrades finish up, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Storm especially, but even the... I like to see shield upgrades as well as the air upgrades, but that's Storm. That's Storm. I mean, if it's not Storm, it's the feedback from the Vipers anyways, and I think she still is going to have to depend a little bit on those abducts. I don't think Mass Hydra is actually going to be, like, easy peasy answer, as they both are maxed out.
Yeah, and of course, we got chat discussing the Parasitic Bomb aspect of this. Actually, versus the Phoenix, it might be pretty good. The Parasitic Bomb only deals 70 damage.
Well, that's a way to lose all your Storms.
It was very unfortunate. It got me to stop speaking, that's how unfortunate it was.
What?
But anyways, carriers, how much health do they have? 300-400 health, basically. Like, you're going to need 5 or 6 Parasitic Bombs, plus a little bit of auto attack damage just to kill them. Like, it's just, you will not have that many Parasitic Bombs.
Yeah, I mean, even Fungals, right?
Oh, like, nice grab on the mothership. She goes for the recall, but it's no good, and Scarlet gets a big snipe.
I was gonna say, like, added damage is always good, but the Abduct's probably gonna be better. And if there are Fungals, then they're probably gonna be in the Interceptors.
Ooh, well, the Interceptors are doing pretty darn good. They're not going down too quickly, and there's still a lot where that came from. Adept's also gonna be fighting these Hydras, and a Storm lands. Scarlet eating that Storm. She's pretty hungry. Unfortunately, though, I think she's getting broken. The Archon's swooping in on the left side. The Phoenixes are actually getting picked off, so maybe not. I hold that thought.
The carriers can't reproduce the interceptors fast enough, so our Mass Hydra army is actually doing what usually isn't, like, you would never say is, like, supposed to be the answer. I think, like, killing the carrier is always going to be, like, A+ work, but killing the interceptors, if it works, it works.
She is getting a little bit low on the Hydras. I mean, you're right. Unfortunately for the Protoss in this instance, rebuilding everything is just taking time more than money, but... these carriers are still such beastly units. How many have died? It's been 1 carrier death this game. 1 carrier and 1 mothership for 66 Hydras. You know, that sort of dedication is hard to justify. I think Scarlet's got a lot of the right moves, though, and this is honestly one of the best looking versions of this we've seen. Especially with the Storms being picked off and denied so hardcore. But, I mean, the Spore Crawler line on the front, the Queen's up here with the Vipers. I think Scarlet's doing a lot of really smart moves that look better than just the Mass Hydra we've seen people throw bodies at carriers for in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that 144 interceptors is kind of a scary, or it's really scary at 5 minerals per piece. It's still like a funny number to see most.
It's like 500
those
minerals.
are pretty good abducts. 3 carriers go down.
Actually, how much? 5 times 150 is like 550 minerals. Like, it's actually not that much. I would love to know what the comparison would be to the old cost. Like 25 times that would be like 2,000, 3,000 minerals, right? Like, that's crazy looking at that cost efficiency. Anyways, Abducts, Spore Crawlers, Hydra splitting. Scarlet's actually taking a fantastic fight. It looks a little bit scary at first, but the carry's now out of interceptors, out of protection, all dying. GG. And Scarlet has defeated somebody who might have been Zest.
You don't know. You don't know.
You don't know. We don't know.
I did the math, by the way. It is like 144 interceptors with 5 minerals, like 700. 25 minerals is 3,600.
That's an entire base worth of mining right there. Like, that is crazy.
Yeah. I didn't actually expect such large difference in numbers, but it does make sense.
But that is a bit of content. But regardless of carriers being good or not, we did just see Scarlet beat it, which is certainly cool. And she didn't have to do anything too super crazy. That was just some solid abducts, some good engagements. I will say there was a bit of a drawback. The Protoss player losing a lot of storms early, and the Templar never really landing a lot of what they should have. Like, for example, feedbacks on the Vipers. I'm not trying to nitpick, but I'm just saying Scarlet handled that well. I would have loved to have seen if that had gone that next level, though. Had that gone longer, had that gone deeper type thing.
Yeah, certainly a lot of mistakes with those High Templars.
Yeah. Well, guys, we got a donation, actually, from Laser SEQ. I guess Twitch alerts are broken for whatever reason today. That kind of sucks, but thanks for giving us content in this time of drought with a heart. Well, thank you very much for the $20, man. Lupe also reset for 3 months and woot! I think that should be everybody. We're going to hop to a small commercial break while we discuss how much more of Scarlet we'll watch before we start getting ready for the Overwatch tournament. So stick around. Thanks for watching. And, of course, just that reminder to go to the brackets real quick. We do have the full Overwatch finals to still play out today.